Hello, this is Christy Bolin, Independent Creative Memories Advisor, and I'm here very much unscripted, impromptu to show you a card that I created today for my wonderful husband. I'm not going to show you the whole message, but that's where I wrote on the inside. And I wanted to come and teach you this idea. I know that it's very busy. I like busy things sometimes, and I did follow the rules of having an uneven number of embellishments. And I'm actually, when I teach this tonight, I'm not going to show you, I'm not going to create it exactly this way because I want to move as fast as I can. I'm hoping to do this in, well, actually, I don't even know how many minutes because I didn't practice ahead of time. So I'm going to teach this, and I wanted to tell you ahead of time that the tools I used was the Full of Love punch. It is still available. The Love punch, it recently became available again. Love letters, that's the exact name of it. And the circle punch that has been out for a couple of months now. And when I made this earlier today, I used cardstock in, oh, I forget the color, and white was the second color. I just used a scrap of it. And I used, I think this was from Magic Awaits or Sparks of Magic, this background paper. Let me see if I have a sample here. This was the background paper, and I punched some of my cutouts in that paper. But tonight I'm going to use something that's newer to us, the Totally Tonal Blue, Baby Boy Blue, or, and I'm going to decide as I go, I might use these papers from Tropic Time. And I know that they don't show up extremely well as like far from the camera, so I might try to get closer and see if it'll zoom in a little bit. Yeah, there it goes. So it looks like the dandelions, and it has a blue center, and then this one kind of looks like I don't know, maybe a sunshine. But there is a very special baby boy that is going to be coming to our family pretty soon. And so I thought, you know what? Love doesn't have to be just about Valentine's Day, which is why I decided very impromptu to film this tonight. So I'm going to use a piece of cardstock to make my card base and some other parts of this card. So that's what you're going to need. I'll be honest, I am not prepared to write out on Post-it notes the things that you're going to have to do. So if you watch this video, you're going to have to pause and rewind and whatnot in order to get all the correct measurements. Y'all, I work with a messy desk. Those of you that know me and you know how I scrapbook, and maybe you attend my weekly classes, you know that I work with a messy desk and I have a hard time throwing away punch poop. And this is a perfect example of having a hard time throwing things away. Plus, I love hearts. My diamond is a heart-shaped diamond. My mother's ring, which I don't have on right now, is heart stones representing the months of our family's birth dates. So anyway, we're definitely going to need our 12-inch trimmer. You're going to need your scoring blade. I'm going to go ahead and get it out while I'm thinking about it. And you're probably going to need a multi-purpose tool. You're definitely going to need a tape runner. So we're going to start by cutting our base for our card. And cards are, oh, I got to say this right, 5.5 by 4.25. And you are going to want your first cut of your cardstock to be at 5.25, even if you want to use the card vertically. Well, I say that you're going to want to. That's because when it opens this way, it would still be 5 1/4. However, if you don't mind it being a thin card where it opens up, and that's hard to do in the camera screen, but you could cut it at 4 1/4, but I think it's just a little easier to cut it at 5 1/2, 5 1/2, so that then you can decide which way, because if you have it opening up this direction, if you did cut it at 4 1/4, it would just be, let's see, what's the right way to say it? It would be a non-conventional way of opening the card, for it to be in that direction. So, and maybe I'm not making any sense. So I'm going to hush on that. And I'm just going to go ahead and tell you that our first cut is going to be at 5 1/2 inches. Okay. And I'm using my straight blade right now. I'm going to put my cardstock to the side, and I'm going to move on to my next cut, which is at, I'd see, I didn't write myself any notes. Let's see, 5 1/2, so that's 11. Yeah, I think this is right. I'm gonna cut 1 inch off, and then I'm gonna do my scoring, and I think I'm telling you right. No, I'm not telling you right. See, y'all, this is what happens when you don't make yourself notes ahead of time, but that's okay. I'm gonna adjust and go from here. Oh yeah. That's right. Okay. So this, I just cut 1 inch off to make it 11 inches, but that's because I was multiplying the other two things. What I should have done is I should have cut it at 8 1/2 inches. And so then my scrap would have been one big piece that was ever how many inches that would be. But now I'm going to have 2 scraps instead. And hopefully I just now did this right, since I didn't really think through it before I cut. But I think I did it right. Let me check. This will make the video just a tad longer. Yeah, okay, that's right. All right, so my first cut was at 5 1/2. My second cut should have been at 8 1/2 inches. Okay, and then I'm ready to score. So I'm going to switch out my blade to the scoring blade. And since this is at 8 1/2 inches, my score is going to be at 4 1/4. So here I am at 4 1/4, and I'm going to score it down the middle so that I then have a nice, crisp, clean fold. Okay, so 5 1/2, 4 1/4, 5 1/2, 4 1/4. Okay, this is my base, and this is what I'm starting with. Now, decisions. What am I going to do for my next layer? I had out these 3 designer papers because I wasn't sure which one I was going to want to use. And let me hold this close. You see this? You see this designer paper right here? This is what I'm cutting next. And I do have, since I have so many hearts on it, it's hard to tell, but I have a second layer on top that is white that's going right through here. So this is the layer that I'm looking to do. And, you know, technically, I can probably combine this paper with either one of these two. And you know what? I think that's what I'm going to go with, because in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter. It's whatever I decide to do. But I think I'm going to go with this next. And that next layer is going to be 5 1/2. So that's going to 5 1/4 inch on my second layer for my card. Oops, didn't change out to my straight blade. So don't forget to switch blades in between cuts. And by the way, if the back of your paper is directional, for that matter, if the front of your paper is directional, make sure you're going the right direction. These hearts are kind of going all over the place. So I'm okay where I'm at, and I'm going to cut at 5 1/4. And I will put my scrap over to the side with my other tile. And it was 5 1/4 by, well, it was 5 1/2 by 4 1/2. I mean 4 1/4. So I'm going to go 1/4 inch down. So this next this next piece, see, again, I didn't write myself notes. My second layer is going to be 4 inches. So I cut the first direction at 5 1/4, and the next direction I'm cutting at 4 inches. So I'm going to have 8 inches of this piece of decorative paper left, and I'm hesitating because I'm making sure I'm doing this right before I go. This should be correct. So yes, it is. It's correct. So I'm just going to kind of center it on there just visually. Not I'm not actually adhering it yet. You can if you want to, but you certainly don't have to. And then I think I will use a layer of white, just like I did here, that will give us a little bit of a cleaner background. And then whatever I punch my hearts out with, it's not going to matter quite so much because it's going to go on a clean white background. So that was 4 inches. And next I'm going to go 3 3/4. So in other words, each time I go down, I'm going down 1/4 of an inch so that I have an 1/8 of an inch mat around the edge. Let me double check to make sure I'm telling you right when I say an 1/8 of an inch. Yes, an 1/8 of an inch mat around the edge. Sorry about any noise you may hear. Remember, I don't use a clean desk when I am making projects. So my piece of white scrap is 5 inches wide. And I think that's because that's the width that it needs to be. Yes. So it's already 5 inches wide. So I don't have to make a cut this direction. Well, technically, I should make a tiny, tiny cut because it is a tad over 5 inches, but it is so slim over the 5 inch mark that I'm not going to clean it up. So you want it 5 inches this way and 3 3/4 this way. Again, let me make sure I'm telling you correct. Yes, 3 3/4. All right, lesson learned. Next time I have to write myself notes before I spontaneously hop on to film a video, right? Okay, so this is what it will look like now. And as you can see, it covers up a lot of the background hearts. So let me take a sip of water. You may or may not want to cover up that much of your background. Adjust your measurements accordingly. I'm going to go ahead and do it since I'm doing this on a video. And I'm going to put more hearts on top of this, just like I did with this one. And so now the decision has to be made. Am I going to use the totally tonal heart again? I've got plenty of scrap. I've got this, plus I've got another almost a little more than half a sheet. Or I could use one of these papers from the Tropic Time collection. And I hope I'm saying that name correct. You know what? I'm so torn. I really want to use one of these, and it also shows you that, you know, our collections do kind of mix and match, and that's perfectly fine. Um, I think I'm gonna go with the this one, the sunshine ones, because well, just because, and I think I'll also maybe punch a few from this. But what I'm gonna do next is let me just move this out of the way because I don't have to have it right this second. I'm going to get my Full of Love punch, and I do usually get out a piece of cardboard to punch on so that it's easy to throw away the trash. Let me double check the back. So I'm going to make a few punches from this. And then we'll see what we have. Like once I make a few punches, how many more I may or may not need to make. Because like I told you earlier, I'm not going to do as much as I had done earlier on my card. I'm going to do 4 while we're at it, and then we'll see if I want to come back and add any more. I could always do some of this from the solid baby blue cardstock, and I might end up doing that. I'm not sure yet. All right, so in this case, you're not going to want to throw away your punch poop yet. Just kind of put it to the side, and that way you have it to come back to if you need it for anything. And I'm going to put my paper to the side, and I'm probably going to need to start adhering these here pretty soon. So in this case, I'm going to put each of my 4 pieces in the 4 corners. And with this one, I cut 4 out of solid paper, the 4 corners out of solid paper. And then these 2 are made out of the printed paper that matches that background. Let me hold it up so that you can see a little clearer that is the Full of Love punch at the top and the bottom of the love. I'm not going to do that much, but I think I'm going to stop here, and then I'll still put the love in the center. And so right now I'm okay. So let me start by adding this my adhesive to put these components together. Oh, by the way, that would also be a good side to have up, but since I want the hearts, I'm going with that for now. After all, it is Valentine's Day, right? Stop right here. I'm just eyeballing the center. I can already tell I'm not completely in the center, but I'm not worried about perfection because for me, scrapbooking is more about getting it done than it is about being perfect. Now, as you can see, well, assuming that that I'm on the camera, I am not using a brand new white sheet of paper. I'm actually using the fly sheet that came with a pack. I think this was the Spargo line paper. So that's why it looks like it looks on the back, but it is photo safe and it looks like a white sheet of cardstock on the front. So here I go. I'm going to center this on my hearts here. And then I'm going to take my punched out Full of Love hearts, and I will be putting these in these corners. Before I do that, I'm going to do a couple of things. The first thing I'm going to do is take another sip of water. I'm going to hold it closer to the camera so that hopefully you can see how that's kind of going to turn out. And then I am going to punch for my love punch, my love letters punch. And I will definitely do it out of solid cardstock. You can do it out of whatever you want to do it out of, but this is what I'm going to use. And since I know that there's not a tremendous amount of punch poop that's going to come out of it, I'm just going to punch it directly onto the table. Oh, my E got stuck and it wanted to stick to that. You will definitely, you definitely will want to save your love letters here, because you might want to use them on the inside of your card like I did on the inside of mine. You don't have to, but don't throw it away, because they're at least until you finish the project, right? Okay, so for my previous card, my red card, I did double mat this red onto white, but then when I ended up putting on a white sheet of cardstock, it was like, did it really matter? Probably not, unless I was going to use foam squares or something like that. So you choose to pop it up with foam squares or not. It really doesn't matter. It's completely up to you. I think that this will be perfectly fine. And wherever my hearts are, I could take some of my leftover hearts and fill in the center of this heart for love to make it pop with foam squares. And so I'm very likely to do that. But I'm going to move on so that I don't keep you all night long watching this video. And I'm going to tell you, I'm getting this piece of plastic so that I can put these little pieces of the Full of Love punched out hearts. I want to put my repositionable tape runner, since it's clear, and it comes out in these little bitty dots. I'm using this plastic to keep my workspace clean. We do have a brand new thing that's in the adhesive buffet right now called the silicone mat, and it will help with instances like this. You could also use your, I don't have one out, I don't think, yes I do, your precision point adhesive to put these pieces down. But I use repositionable adhesive on just about everything because it is so versatile and so easy to use. And yes, it's repositionable, but it's also a it's not like things are going to fall out in years. It is a permanent adhesive. So I'm going to use that, and let me put down my love letters circle punch. And then I'm going to try to center it as best I can, again, without using a ruler or mat or anything, because I just decided real quick to do this. And now I have a cute card, not as busy as the one I did for my husband, but it is still really cute. And I'm going to make it a little cuter because I am going to pop a heart in here. Let me find one that will work, like in terms of the right size or whatever, because some of these hearts are too big and some of them are smaller. I think this is going to be about the right size. I'm just going to need the foam square to pop it up, I think. Let's see. Oh, I might have to get my multi-purpose tool out. Oh, that one's too big. I think the tiny ones are too small, and then the I can't decide, is that 3 sizes of parts or is that 4 sizes of parts that make up that punch? But they also face different directions. I think if I pop that one up, that's what I want. Let me switch back to this one because it has a little bit of that kind of orangey color on it. Yes, this is the one I want. And what I did on my red card is I also adhered, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I adhered 8 extra punched out hearts on the card. Again, I did follow the rule of uneven numbers in my embellishments, I'm not going to take the time to count those right now, but this would technically be an uneven number too, because you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you wouldn't count that heart as a separate one, since it's part of the love letters. Let me make sure I have a tiny foam square to pop up this heart. I may need to get my multi-purpose tool back out here to help me pop this sucker. I think I've got it without having to bring it over here. I also like those little tweezers that came in a kit we had a few years ago, because that helps me with things like this too. Oh, and I hope I didn't get my head in the way. Whew. So that fills in the heart a little more. Like when I hold it down, you can't really tell, but when I hold it up, you can see that because it is popped up with the foam squares, you can see that it does still say LOVE. See that dimension? So I think I'm just going to stop right there and say, yay, here are 2 variations. And guess what? Creative Memories posted in the Creative Memories virtual crop group, they posted a pop-up challenge today, and I don't remember any other details, like when your entries would be due or what you can win or anything. Maybe I'll figure out how to go back and add that kind of information to the end of this video. But now you have a card, or even you can modify it to be a scrapbook page that you can go and enter the challenge. And also, like I said, if I want to take my leftover letters and adhere it to the inside or to the back or wherever, I've got these letters that I can use as well. Okay, I'm going to end with this right here. I hope that y'all have a great rest of the day, rest of the week. Happy Valentine's Day, happy Galentine's Day, happy whatever day you want to call it. I do hope that you have felt love today and that you will have a great rest of the week. Thanks, y'all.